Greetings, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth and also Truth Library. And I'm working to help grow the community, the blockchain technology that's actually going to integrate the social media and distribution of information through blockchain technology. And what I want to show you now is the moon set from the vantage point of my street here in off of my driveway, and I'll be driving on in to the parking ramp over at the Prince Resort. I'm going to flip this around. And one of the reasons why I want to show you that, okay, so the moon's there, and then the sun is coming up over there. We can see where it's getting light in the middle of the view. The sun is going to rise in the middle of the view there and then set in the middle of the view there. I've got video of it. Meanwhile, the moon came up in the middle of the view there and is setting there, clearly running two different paths. One rotation, the supposed uniform rotation of the globe is not satisfactory to answer what I'm observing and what I'm showing you. Okay, if you want to send a self-addressed stamped envelope to 169 Cloverleaf Drive in Long, South Carolina, I'll send you some stickers. I've got lots of them. So I'll show it to you. That's how you spell it. Cloverleaf Drive, Long, South Carolina, 29568. It's pretty calm this morning. There's almost like no air movement. And I'm going to show that to you. Where in the world could a wind chime like this hang anywhere upside down? So I've got this on my wind chime in case somebody wants to come and take a shot of it. Got it on my door here, so make no mistake about it. I'm that guy. I'm Robert Forsch, and the reason why I do this is to establish that I am a human being, and that was one of the things that I needed to do with library, was to show that I'm actually a human being. I've had to confirm my identity before. Now in the scheme of things, with the transpocalypse that's going on, transhumanism, artificial intelligence, and all of that, and the mark of the beast system, one of the things that we've got to consider is that there's other than human entities among us, and we're interacting with a cybernetic collective of humanity. Some of the individuals we're interacting with may have an augmented operating system. I'm not exactly human. I'm more than that, because the Holy Spirit of God who created this world lives in and through me, and all of his children that are actually born again. I just hit the brake there to light up my Truth logo, YouTube Truth. So when I go to library, and I'm all happily tagging my my content so it shows up on all my videos. I'll eventually do that. I'll have that link, and what I'll be able to do is gain coins for that on the blockchain. I'll be able to get some money going into my bank account when people sign up for library, and I'm the referrer to that. Kind of interesting stuff, isn't it? Now the motorcycle that's approaching in my rear view mirror comes by every day, right about the same time. So we have, it's kind of interesting. I'll hear them. I can hear engines, you know, when somebody's out front. I'm not all freaked out, not paranoid, none of that. What I simply wanted to say, it's kind of interesting because to know what I know and to not be afraid is pretty amazing. The system of control that would like to shut me the heck up, as far as I know, has a capacity to neutralize me in many ways. One of them would be just to kill my social media outreach. Worldwide, whether they realize it or not, between 30 and 40 million people have heard me say, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? There's no movement of the earth. The earth doesn't move. That's the reality of that. The car moves. The car gets up and goes. I'll just lock it in at the speed limit. That's cool. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is this whole LBRY blockchain that I found. Now, Eric Dubay first introduced me to it, or I first saw it on a video. I subscribe to Eric, and I've learned a lot from him. We don't agree on everything. Who does agree on everything? So what I would simply say is that I became aware that there was a technology that was going to allow us much more freedom of expression. More than that, our content can stay up. Right now, YouTube is taking channels down or hiding them down a digital dirt road in a quarantine. Isn't that special? Those bastards. It's not like the Google executives are just sitting there doing that, or Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook is trying to figure out how to make our lives a little more difficult. It's artificial intelligence. It's very sophisticated, very elaborate, smarter than people, not smarter than God. Oh, by the way, I purposely had the Australia positioned in the view. I wanted to get my lens pen out. I remember driving around old technology cars, like my first car. There was no cruise control on that, and the speed would go up and down on the old. It was a 67 Chevy, two-door that was about 15 feet long or so. It was huge, massive, two-door Impala. Anyway, where I'm going with all this is I'm going to introduce people to an opportunity to help grow a community, and it's going to help make us all a bit of purchasing power. Now, once again, as I've talked about the Mark of the Beast system, when I fall out of favor with that system and my chip is turned off, I won't be able to do that. I'll still be able to eat grass and trees and distill water with my glass water jug, the windshield of my car. I'm a very inventive, creative kind of guy. The water that drips out from underneath your car, or mine, I'll just say mine, I could put a container under there, a pie plate. I'm probably going to rig up a recovery bottle that drips from my air conditioner into the bottle inside the car, so that I can recover water when I'm mobile. May want to do that. Because if and when we have the power grid go down wherever, whenever, it would be good to know how to do some stuff. I've been compared to MacGyver like 35 years ago. I watch and learn and figure out stuff. I developed the flow-through coffee bag in the early 80s before it was ever patented by Folgers. And I never got any money for it. I was a little bit disappointed for a long time, thinking that if I would have only just walked with God, I could have been wealthy and born again. Well, I was neither wealthy nor born again until 2014, as best I can tell, on Reformation Day. Now I'm both. I have riches beyond human value, beyond this world. I've stored up value in heaven by God's grace to do what He created me to do. I had wondered, how in the world can I multiply, like as a seed is planted, some will grow a crop, the talents and all that. Well, what's kind of interesting about all this is this blows me away, the digital representation of my efforts going worldwide, and then even the my enemies, people that hate me, share my stuff. Even the liars lying about me. and you might see some of that. So if you hashtag my name, I'm the #1 Robert Forsch hashtag in the world. I've been busy doing that, and for about 5 years now, I've been sharing God's Word to the ends of the earth around the clock with social media, and so you can follow my digital footprint. I sent a link to I made a message to LBRY today. I invited many of my friends to like their page, and some of my friends already do, or did because of my interaction with them. That being said, I contacted LBRY to let them know that I thought the link might not be functional. It's on my page right now. You can click on it. When I saw the word null in there, I'm thinking, hey, is this thing working? It's not taking me where I want to go. But I've got a video that a very articulate young lady talked about the LBRY program and what it's designed to do. Eric Dubé mentioned it. PewDiePie. He's the most sub channel in the world. I don't know if he's going to be coming on over to that platform. I would think he's already there, probably. So I'm not an expert on this. I know people who are. Actually, I'm connected intimately with God, who knows everything, and He's been leading me to do what I've been doing for my whole life. And nothing in this world is going to happen that He doesn't either cause or allow. That's mind-blowing to me. He knows it all. He's a know-it-all, and He's in control of it all. And that's disturbing to some because there's evil in this world. How does that happen? Why does that happen? Well, I trust Him. I trust Him that He knows what He's doing. So I cover a lot of topics, and I may run this to I'm not sure how long the broadcast is going to be. I'm going to be able to show you where the moon sets pretty close from the vantage point of near the ocean, at the oceanfront parking ramp of the Prince Resort. I'm going to flip this around and show you. I'm going down Sea Mountain Highway right now. At the end of this street is where I captured the sun appearing in the clouds from this vantage point. Job 37, there's different translations. One of my friends wanted to know. She didn't seem to see it there. It's there. It's there. You can watch Dean Odell's explanation of that if you care to on his channel. You can read different translations of Scripture. The King James, I believe, mentions sun, and sometimes there's references to the greater light ruling the day, lesser light ruling the night. Oh, by the way, my digital thermometer, I checked the temperature in my car. It's black and it's hot, 185 degrees. I could cook eggs in this car. Unfortunately, people got cooked in cars. That's why they have the alert on like Walmarts and that. Did you make sure to get your kids out of the car? It's kind of crazy, the world that we live in. The way that things work out is kind of weird, but that's just the nature of how it is. We live in a kind of a weird world. So what I'm wanting to do is help you to realize that the information that I present to the best of my ability is factual, and that's what I've been doing since I got on YouTube and Facebook, and wanted to leverage the worldwide instantaneous portable communications technology and systems, and that's what we're working with right now. These are personal computers. Mine is an iPhone 10. It has some AI features to it, and the technology is amazing. So I'll use that. I'll leverage everything that I can for the glory of God as best I know how. So I'm going to flip this around again, show you where we're headed. Looks like I've got my flashlight on there. There we go. Cell tower, upper left. Maybe you can see that. Oh, it's not only a cell tower, it's a water tower. There it is. Now you can see it a bit better. So what does that do to the water? What's going to happen when it's all rigged up with 5G? I don't know. I don't know. We're headed towards the direction that the sun is going to appear. Yet I need to race up the car ramp there as quickly as possible. When I say race up, I still like to go the speed limit, but the idea here is I just want to establish that where the sun and the moon appear and vanish on the horizon and their duration of visibility within the 24 hours and their duration of visibility between one another indicates that they're running independent courses. Each one of them, the sun and the moon, run a different course over the stationary level Earth. One of the things that I would encourage you to consider is there would be no level anywhere if we were spinning, wobbling, and gyrating. Okay, so that's the Prince Resort and the reflection on the water, but I've got a lot of reflection in the cabin, so I've got to cut the light in here. There you can see it. And that's the mirror. Now the breaks in the reflections would be the water that's there. I can see a bunch of birds that are on it as well, on the sandbars that are rising up out of there. And now I'm gonna get on Ocean it's North Ocean Boulevard or Avenue in Cherry Grove, South Carolina. So that's the Prince Resort, and I'm not seeing the moon right now. It's pretty low. It's just about ready to set. So when I get up in the parking ramp, you can see how that looks, and also compare it to what it was last night. I posted a video that, it's actually in my liked videos. I just added it, so I didn't showcase it, but it's there. I did only the P1000 recording. There's a convex mirror in the middle of the view. Those are like, they'll put them for forklift operators and that in factories and parking ramps so people can see around the corner. I can see that there's nobody coming, and there we go. My lights are on bright to throw an extra amount of light so that people can tell I'm here. And the path that I follow is the outermost run, so that if a car is all of a sudden there, well, they're supposed to be on their side anyway. These are designed so that cars can go both directions. It's kind of weird. Some people are just, I don't know if they're on medications, if they're just old, and whatever. Okay, this stuff right here, that's a whole bunch of acid. It's corrosive. That type of chemical is not only going in the swimming pools, it's going in the water supply. Fluoride is one of the most toxic chemicals that's in the food chain, and it's put in the water supply to make people less perceptive, more docile. You can see it. The Great Culling is a video on my liked video playlist. One of the things that I'm really hoping I can do with the library is share the videos on my channel, and it's in the developing stages. It may already be happening that I can have my liked video playlist go on out there. When I put one of my videos, like this one right here, when I convert this to a YouTube video and put it up to my channel and link it all together, there's a whole almost 2,600 videos that will go along with it and lead you back to my channel if you want, that has other channels with amazing content as well. In the context of all this, sometimes I'll show some videos that talk about what if the Earth stops spinning. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I put that there so that people will see how ridiculous this actually is. Going up now, I want to show you. This is going up, and then when I get to the top here, it's going to go level the rest of the way around. Plumb and level is the way that structures are built. Even if you're on a mountainside, they'll dig the ground out so that you've got a level slab. There's a slight contour for drainage, but it's overall mostly level. Free public parking in G7 and 8, and right now it's $2 an hour parking all over North Myrtle. So if this changes or when it changes, I don't know. Not sure. Okay, in the view, I just want to show you the perfect symmetry and reflections that water is. If you want to know where the low spot on a slab is, just put some water on it or see where the puddle is. That is how precision this all is. Okay, I've got one more floor to go up. I should at least be able to see the glow of the moon if I don't see the moon itself. I've got to have my camera rigged up to go live right away, or to record immediately. So I'll be taking my camera out right away and zoom in on whatever I can see of the moon. There those puddles are. There we go. All right. So here's where I was last night. I'm just going to put the Truthmobile here for photo op as well. Yes. All right, so I've just started the P1000 broadcast. I think the moon is right over the top of that house. Looks like a glow there. I hope that's it. I might have missed it. It's technically supposed to be up right now, but I'm not seeing it, unfortunately. Where I was expecting to see it set is right in the middle of the view. Boy, that's a little anticlimactic, isn't it? But you can look. Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh, it's right there. I'm zooming in on it. Oh, I'm so glad to see it. It's really hard to see, but that is unmistakably the moon setting over Myrtle Beach. Okay, and last night I showed it right over in the middle of the view there. You can see it on my video that I posted. We can see the water demonstrably flat, no curvature on the x-axis or the horizon. I'm going to zoom in on the moon once again and the Myrtle Beach skyline. And the moon is a lot tougher to get the view of. I'm going to have to show you the numbers later on. It's almost 100%, real close, according to what the numbers say. Now, one of the things, so from this vantage point, I can still see the moon over the top of the building, right there, okay? Right in the middle of the view. So when we go ahead and post this, or when I post it, I should say, you'll be able to see it. Now, recently I've done sunrises from the coastal preserve down low, from right over in the middle of the view there. I'm showing two cameras, so my hand might look kind of out of place, but the middle of the view is actually where it's going to originate or show up from this vantage point. And from this location, I can't see the moon. However, I know it's right in the middle of the view there, based on what I saw. Okay, so the moon set is in just a few minutes, just as I anticipated. And I'm going to, I believe, take us on over there with the car. I want to show you that up there, but I'm going to take my equipment with me. I have different videos that I've shot from the parking ramp here that have just a beautiful view. Okay, somebody's actually where I'd like to be, but that's okay. I'll make it happen. I'm not pausing my P1000 recording because I want to maintain a continuous recording. There's no computer trickery with what I do. I'm just simply showing you the world that we live in as best I can. Okay. So the sun will appear in the middle of the view there. This gives us a much better view over this way. And the lighting on and the ability to record is different with both devices. The iPhone 10 actually has a really high quality camera for low light situations, better than I believe the P1000 does. But you can evaluate that if you care to. So we have a little bit of time. I think I'm going to go ahead and set this up so I'll be able to come back to it. And I want to take a little bit of a walk around here and show you a few things. The sun appears to be in the clouds because that's apparently where it is. That's what I've noticed. That's the biblical proclamation. And there are some people within the truth movement that think it's absolutely crazy to believe or say that. Oh wow. We've all got our platform to try and tell people what we believe the truth is. And I'm doing my my level best, pun intended, to help you to see that. Okay, the ceiling is level, and then we can see that this goes down. Hence, we have the tapered view. So I just want to show you some of the architecture. The horizon is level, and then the parking ramp angles down. It's just the way it is. I'm not going to try and repeat everything that I say all the time about this stuff because the content is already on my channel. I'm just going to try and highlight some of what I want to highlight today and tell you about. Looks like I got my stream back. I had a little interruption in the broadcast there. So here's a bunch of salt that goes in the swimming pool. And then, of course, we've got the hazard and corrosive and those, it's pool equipment. It's just, there's regulations to have a public pool, and Smitty does an excellent job of maintaining the pool here. There's a lot of chlorine and chemicals to kill bacteria. So that's important. I just, I don't, I'm bathing in highly purified carbon filtered reverse osmosis water. Now when I drove on in earlier, I mentioned the birds down on the water. I'm actually zooming in on them right now. There's some type of a long-legged crane. So there's a gentle breeze blowing through here, and there's aerodynamics that go with this. I talk about steel reinforced concrete construction. This type of construction can handle winds that are extremely powerful, couple 100-mile-an-hour winds. I believe that this parking ramp could withstand that, no problem. Especially since the air would blow through it. So the 3D panel is a cost-effective construction method that I've featured on my liked videos. I've worked with a company that made the machine, and they actually have, oh, I'm looking at a drone down there. Anyway, he probably got the moon set. I'm going to zoom in on him. Yeah, the 3D panel is steel reinforced insulated concrete that can withstand fires and hundreds of miles an hour of wind and earthquakes. How about that? Well, they don't want much of that kind of construction to go mainstream, right? Yeah, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. You can reach out and call me anytime. I'm going to make my phone number available once again. So I'm not hiding. I'm right in plain sight. You can reach out anytime you like. There you go. Yeah, I might leave that up for my end of broadcast. So I'm going to zoom in on the little swimming pool. And there's virtually no ripples on it. Very, very calm. There's oh, interesting, there's a ball floating on it, a little beach ball. So, do you believe we live on a spinning water sphere or a stationary level Earth? The spinning water sphere exists only in the imagination. It's not real. Water will fill its container. I'm clearly showing that. This is the Atlantic Ocean right there. And I've shown many videos of it. Now I'm going to zoom in on the birds from this vantage point. And I'm going to stop for just a moment and have you consider how flat and level that water is. It's just what it does. I was watching one of my videos where I could see the water squirting out of the oyster beds, clam beds. We have a firmament that's up above the earth. It's a protective dome. I'm going to show you something, a representation of that right here. It's the water jug that I've shown many times. So even though the bottom of this is circular, it's flat, and the water inside will absolutely become level as well. You can test that out yourself if you like. What I have done in the past, I've created what I call beams, which is inverted view. It looks really weird, especially with the wheels of a vehicle moving. So I'm upside down. Whoops, get my thumb out of the way there. Sorry about that. And I'm not going to do this for a long time. I just want to show you how absurd this is, that people believe that we live on a ball, on a spinning water sphere with people upside down and tractors and heavy equipment upside down in relationship to one another. It's not real. It's not actual. It's not factual. It's a deception. So how about that? What are you going to do with that information? So I'm doing my level best, pun intended, to help you realize the reality of the world that we live in. And I'm doing it at the potential expense of my physical life. I was watching myself talk about this earlier today. If I was given all the money in the world to shut up and just take down my digital profile, I wouldn't do it unless I believe God wanted me to. It'll get taken down eventually, I'm sure. Or maybe not. I don't know. Nothing in this world is going to happen that God doesn't cause or allow. I believe that. So that's why I'm not afraid. Not at all. So the quality of the video may not be quite as good as what I would like it to be. I get a little bit better quality with just a direct recording like the P1000. However, there's a notification process that goes out to all of Facebook potentially when a live broadcast goes on. There's about 2 billion users on Facebook, apparently. A lot of my subscribers don't have any content on their channel, unfortunately. I hope to change that. I hope to help be a catalyst to have people make a playlist available and learn how to copy and paste. I'll explain it real quick. You move your cursor up into the address bar where your website is located, whatever site you're on. You click Command C, and then you go to the page that you want to put the link in a comment, or the place where you want to send the link in an email or something, and then hit Command V. Command C, Command V. Bam. That's it. There you go. That's when I learned how to do that. Our son David taught me how a few years ago, about 4 years ago. I said, this world will never be the same. I'm not kidding. Part of what has happened with me is that I've had an opportunity to reach a lot of people with what I believe to be the truth. And to that end I labor. That's why I do this. And the extended broadcast for my haters, a lot of those won't even stay and watch. That's just fine. But it establishes where I live, who I am. I'm a real person, really care, very vulnerable, and I'm showing you content that nobody else has right now of this, as far as I know, from this vantage point. They're not here. They're not next to me. And even if they were next to me, like a whole gallery of video cameras, they wouldn't have exactly the view that you're looking at right now. Now, to be clear, the Prince Resort has a lot of cameras on it. So, and the end of the pier, so the Prince Resort and the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier is all camered up. You can see it if you care to. So on the left side of the view, where the sun is going to appear, I'm gonna just move this a little bit and balance it out. Okay. So in the left of the view, that's where the sun is appearing. That is the Russell R. Burgess Coastal Preserve. The right of the view is the open ocean. Straight ahead, where I'm going to zoom in on the water tower, I've done a lot of videography and photography from down there. It's called The Point in Cherry Grove. We're expecting to have 20 million guests here in the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach this year. Every day out here, this looks a bit different. Because it is. It's a new day. It's the promise of a new day. It's fabulous. Oh, I forgot, if I walk into the front of the camera pointing the other way, my P1000 audience won't hear it. So I'm going to move this as far ahead as I can. One of the thoughts that I have for you is that even if you live in the city, wherever you are, you can use the architecture that's available for you to look at to use against, to see where the sun and the moon appear and vanish and all that if you care to. I'm gonna zoom in on a couple of things here while we're waiting for the sun to show up. Down in the middle of the view is a puddle on the roof. There's a little bit of air movement. If there were a hole in that steel roof, there would be water inside the building. The swimming pool down there, we can see little waves. And then the swimming pool out there, the ocean that covers the face of the earth. There you go. People come from all over to enjoy this. Now, yesterday, when I was down just a few feet above sea level, I was right at sea level, basically. And I asked Siri what my elevation was, and she told me 260 feet above sea level. Well, I knew that wasn't true. I'm at about 85 feet above sea level right here, right now. Maybe 100 feet, something like that. The people that were next to me on the golf cart asked Siri. They got a different answer. They can't all be right. They may all be wrong. So there you go. So when I do this, I'm just going to pan on down and show you what appears to be a dad and a baby and a young son in his jammies, and then the people walking along the beach of all different descriptions. Are the young children that are in the strollers going to get assaulted with a chemical cocktail to cripple them and their parents for life? Maybe even end their life? That happens with vaccines. So I'm pro-life, pro-truth. That's what I'm about. I want people to base their choices on reality and truth. I believe the two are interchangeable. So I've got documentaries and doctors, professionals that are exposing the reality of the pharmaceutical drugging of humanity, the chemical straitjacket that's getting thrown on humanity, and not just the chemicals in the prescription drugs. It's what's in the food, the water, the air. If you, I want you to think outside the plastic bottle, for example. So on a cheap plastic disposable container that crumbles up into the size of a marble or smaller, if you melted it down, it would be very small. When you put a highly aggressive purified water in that bottle, the action of the water on the plastic draws the plastic molecules out of it. So you're drinking toxic plastic. There you go. I wouldn't do it. Out on the beach here, I'll see people that are spraying themselves and their children up with chemicals that smell so bad I've got to hold my breath when it comes blowing my way. I don't run up to them frantically warning them about the hazards. What'll happen is some of them will see my channel, they'll see my shirt or the Truth Mobile and go there and find out, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I was killing my family and myself slowly with a chemical cocktail I didn't even realize was designed to make me less perceptive and submissive, a docile population. So the group that's out here right now on the beach walking, they're a group that is different. It's a beach less traveled at a less traveled time of the day. So I'm gonna, while we're waiting for the sun to show up, I'm finishing up the P1000 recording. We've got the dog walkers, and then the joggers will be out here too. Not a whole lot of beer drinking, partying kind of thing happening now. That'll be later on today. And this is a pretty quiet beach. It's a more family-oriented beach. So, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, and I've got a video with the thumbnail that shows these stickers. If you want one of the stickers, the lighting is terrible when I did that, so I'll just turn it around. Now you can see it. I'm going to end the P1000 broadcast or recording and start up another one. Thank you for your public encouragement, public and private encouragement. Like, shares. Please explore my playlist. A lot of powerful content there. This is Robert Forsch. Thank you so much. All right, so I've started another live broadcast. I'll show, or not live, another P1000 recording. I'm going to show you my card. Send a self-addressed stamp envelope if you like, and I'll send you some stickers. You can hashtag my name or my channel name, which is just Truth, in comments, but if you hashtag YouTube Truth or my name, I'll show up. I'm muted, invisible to a lot of commenting on the videos that I'm in that have millions of views. That's intentional. They do that. It's understandable. There's a different agenda that they're promoting. I'm simply exposing it. And I just wanted to show you once again the example of the firmament, the structure up above the earth. There would be no possibility for a pressurized atmosphere that we have if there was no barrier. And Scripture says there's a lot of water on the other side of the firmament. The water's above and the water's below. And I'll have, apparently in their mind, well-meaning people that believe the Bible, so they say, yet they don't believe the biblical account of creation as it relates to the firmament and the waters above. They may have a canopy theory or something, that it's just rain, just moisture. I'm saying no. No. Structure. Structure isn't a vapor. Okay. So what happens is people largely believe the lie they want to believe, as best I can tell. That's essentially how it works. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. How about that? So, yes, of course, there's weather modification. I'll have people that may comment on chemtrails or that, and I understand that that's certainly an issue. What I would say along with that is that I have an opportunity to live a very healthy lifestyle, a lot of fresh air in my life in the house. I've got a lot of plants, I show that. I'm bathing in the reverse osmosis carbon filtered drinking water. And so I'm going to throw myself on the view here again when I say this. And I'm not smoking cigarettes anymore, or cigars, or marijuana, and I'm not drinking alcohol and taking drugs, legal and illegal. I'm a free man. So if you're all hacked off about the New World Order poisoning humanity, well, are you poisoning yourself willfully? Even if you're drinking tap water, you're taking in some powerful psychoactive chemicals, potentially psychoactive, going to change your perspective. That's what sodium fluoride does. It makes people less perceptive. Apparently, drop your IQ. I'll drink a little coconut oil in the morning, like a quarter cup, and I'll put a quarter cup of coconut oil and a cup of baking soda in my bath water of about 30 gallons. Now we can see the cranes a little bit better, more lighting, or whatever kind of bird they are. If you know, you can put it in the link. And then once again we see how the water fills in the container, and that's the Russell R. Burgess Coastal Preserve, and on the right the open ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. It looks like the sun is maybe appearing right on the other side of the building. I believe it's up already. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm using that device that I normally bring that up right there. So it was on my last night video where I showed the numbers for today, if you want to see it. It's there right now. You could open up another window if you wanted to. It's a bit overwhelming to chase after the sun and the moon, especially in the summer. So we had the moon set and the sunrise real close to one another today, this morning. It'll be even closer, I believe, tomorrow. You could check it out if you want. The Tides Near Me app is the one that I use. Very effective for that. Yeah, to me, the way it looks is the sun is right behind the top of the building right there. It may poke through soon. I'm not sure. So the sun, moon, and stars move above the stationary Earth, whether you like it or not, agree with it or not. Unlike sales, I don't get a commission on how many people wake up and realize the reality of this, or their need to be born again, and actually making sure that happens for them as best they can tell. I believe it's only by God's grace anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. I know I say some of these things over and over again. The truth doesn't change. It just is. And then there's everything else. So to be clear, an effective deception is going to encompass or contain truth as well. So, for example, I mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. I'm going to say it again for this audience. That may be different because it's a P1000 recording. When I asked Siri what my elevation was, and my feet were a few feet above sea level because I was down on the ground there next to the coastal preserve, I was given a reading of over 260 feet above sea level. Well, that obviously wasn't accurate. So, as I said in one of my first videos that got a lot of views, I said we have theoretical physicists and scientists that meander off into formulas and explanations that don't reflect reality. So when I'm standing on the beach, and I've done it right down at the ocean, right next to the ocean, and I'll get multiple different readings, varying sometimes hundreds of feet in elevation. With the law of non-contradiction, they can't all be right. Now, here's how sophisticated AI is, artificial intelligence. It could give a false reading on an airplane. An airplane flying over a stationary level plane. Do you believe you live on a spinning water sphere? Just think about it. I'll have people that are so ridiculous to say a droplet of water proves we live on a globe. Well, oh well. If you're a believer that God isn't real because basically the scientific community is telling you that we came from a godless cosmic cough or a celestial sneeze, oh well. The reason why it matters to those of you who say you love Jesus and love the Yeshua or Yahweh, whatever you're calling him, I'm calling him my Heavenly Father. He's the Creator that took up human flesh and dwelt among us. That's the one. So I typically refer to him as Jesus. That's who most of humanity would recognize him as. Did God really say in Genesis about the firmament? Yeah. Did he really say in a lot of places that the earth doesn't move? Oh yeah. What are you going to do with all that non-movement and firmament up above? Oh, you can explain it away. What you won't be able to explain away, and I need to tell you this while I'm looking at you, or I can't look at you, you can look at me. Matthew 7:21, and I'm going to step back just a verse. I'm going to put a couple of them together. The names of all God's children were written in the Lamb's Book of Life before the foundation of the world, well before I slipped my hand up after making a total mess out of my life with my own effort. Even though I worked at a full-time ministry, volunteered at a megachurch, was asked to lead men's groups, and we homeschooled our sons. All that time I was not born again, as best I can tell. To the best of my knowledge, I wasn't born again then. I thought I was born again over 35 years ago until I actually was. Roughly, it'll be 5 years ago on Reformation Day, or Halloween, as the blood-drinking, human-sacrificing Satanists celebrate. They've got a lot of pagan holidays that commemorate their gods and their celebrations, hiding them in plain sight to much of humanity. That being said, Matthew 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says, to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. Okay, and then we get Jesus saying you must be born again to even see the kingdom of heaven. So one of the things that I would want you to consider as well is that Matthew 7:21 says when Jesus is talking about judgment days, talking to his disciples, he said, many are going to say on that day, Lord, Lord, didn't we drive out demons, work miracles, and prophesy? And he says, away from me, you evildoers, I never knew you. Hey, these were not God haters. They were people that thought they were good to go. I was baptized, fully immersed, cried, repented, had a contrite heart for all of you legalists that may think I didn't do the right stuff. I did what I was told to do, or what needed to happen to actually be born again. The reality is my life didn't reflect as God's Word reflects a man's face. As water reflects a man's face, God's Word reflects the man. So when I looked at the man in the mirror, me, and I saw an active alcoholic and drug addict that was struggling with the flesh, because that's all I had. There you go. And then when I was born again, he gave me a love for the truth regardless of what other people think, say, believe, or do. I'm responsible for my obedience, not what you do with what I tell you or what you believe. It's between you and God what that is. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take us on over just a little bit here. I'm gonna walk on over there, and as I do, I'm just gonna leave the view there and see if we can catch the sun showing up. That's where it is right now, right on the other side of that building. Now, earlier last week I did a video of that, and you can see it. It's been edited by one of my friends and YouTube subscribers. Took the video and put some pretty music with it. You can see that if you care to. So we can't see it from here because that building is in the way. I could see it from down on the coastal preserve area. If you were on the camera that's on the top of the Cherry Grove Pier, you could see it from there right now. A whole lot of people have their cameras facing out at the sun right now. I can tell. I can see it. You can see that's what they're doing. I can see a boat in the distance there. I'm gonna drop this down and zoom in on him, show you. Making some waves. Notice the reflection in front of him. I had a surveyor that believes he's born again. He had all the right words to say. However, he believes he lives on a spinning water sphere. I said, you need to really examine your heart and make sure that you're actually born again, because there's coming a day pretty quick when people won't be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast. Are you really good to go? Are you ready for that? Are you prepared to die for what you believe to be true? I know I am. I'm all in on that. So, something as ridiculous and obvious as the impossibility of living on a spinning water sphere. Dang, if you can believe that lie, are you sure you're actually born again? Because, you know, I was baptized. I cried. I served at multiple ministries. Actually, just so you know, you can even look it up. You might even see me on some of the publications. It was the Rawhide Boys Ranch in New London, Wisconsin. And Bart Starr helped add credibility to that organization early on. And Bart Starr recently passed away. He was a friend, and I believe very likely a brother in Christ. When he donated his Corvette that he won for the Super Bowl, when he was with the Green Bay Packers as the quarterback, he spent a day. I was right next to him while he was signing autographs, and I was working with public relations. Even though I would teach the young men how to shovel snow and clean cars and boats, and some of them were even convicted of murder. They were adolescents, so they had a different sentence. I wasn't all afraid of them because we weren't the last house on the block. There was razor wire and concrete and that waiting for them, and steel housing if they didn't go along with the family type organization that was out in the middle of the wilderness. Actually, the young men weren't afraid of the streets as much as they were we had panthers out there in the woods, and bear, and a lot of deer. So they were kind of afraid of that. Okay, so now I'm just going to walk right on over here and shoot that. I'll be able to show you the sun popping through pretty quick. Maybe. So today the sun came up in the middle of the view, and in the winter time, you can scroll through my videos, it comes up in the middle of the view way out over the ocean. That's why I would say, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? I was going to run up to the pool deck and show you, but I'll lose the broadcast. That's just what'll happen. I'll lose the signal for long enough that it'll just cut it, I believe. So I'm going to mention library again. The content that I've created, I've got over 1,500 videos, I believe it is, that I've created myself personally. I'm going to be adding the library link, my unique referral link that will put tokens in my account for doing that, for people identifying themselves as a human being. There's a protocol for that. They're going to look for information to prove that you're not just a node on the artificial intelligence AI network. So they're going to ask to have confirmation, and you can see the details about that. I've asked my friends to like the library page. You can look at it. Hashtag Truth, LBRY. Truth Library. I'm all about what I believe to be true. Just wanted to establish the lighting, and I'm going to zoom right back on in again. Establish how I see the lighting when clearly, wow, clearly the sun has clouds behind it. A lot of clarity in front, and it's just the way it is. Some will say I'm overwhelming my, overexposing my sensor. Oh well, believe whatever you want. Do you believe you live on a spinning water sphere with the belief in the overwhelmed sensor, with people upside down in relationship to other people? You know, I bought the Santa Claus lie until I was about 7 years old in 1969 when they gave us the moon landing hoax. I was all in on that. I believed it. I was adjusting the rabbit ears and the aluminum foil on our black and white TV. I had my right hand on the upper right corner of the TV, right there next to it, watching Neil Armstrong supposedly putting his foot down on the moon. Well, that was a lie. He didn't do that. President Nixon wasn't on an old school black telephone talking to the astronauts on the moon, because they weren't there. How about that? So I may hashtag the moon landing hoax. I can hashtag whatever I feel like, name my video whatever I want. It's content that's unique that I've created. That's one of the advantages I have when I talk about topics in maybe in a somewhat humorous kind of way, to help us examine the reality of the world that we live in. That's why I do it. I want you to base your eternity on the truth, not a lie. Okay, so I'm zoomed in on a bird that obviously flew in front of the sun, between me and the sun. Clearly see him. I have a video. I called it Mysterious Sunrise. A bird of about the same magnification appeared to fly in front of the sun, between me and the sun, and I could see it, and at the same elevation and approximate same magnification appeared to fly on the other side of the sun, on where the clouds are. Now, if the sun is truly in the clouds, that's miles away. Can a bird fly miles away at that altitude? Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know exactly how it works. I've got friends and family that believe I'm crazy for believing the sun is in the clouds, as Scripture says, or that the earth is covered by a dome, just as Scripture says. Oh, and that I'm actually born again? Well, yeah. Now, people that believe the spinning water sphere lie, are they actually born again? I don't know. I don't know. Will they ever be? I don't know. It's really between them and God to work out that detail. So I'm a few minutes from the end of the broadcast, and then I'm going to head on home and show you that once again it clearly appears that the sun is in front of the clouds. All right, there it is. And we're not spinning, wobbling, or gyrating. There's up and down, not upside down in relationship to one another. Yeah, survey said, what measurements have you done personally? Well, I told them about the driving coast to coast, and that there's not 650 miles of curvature. I proved it. I talked about it. You can hear the story. Well, I can tell you. I had a modified diesel Volkswagen that I drove out to California to smoke some weed, to get high, because I was bummed out on the pharmaceuticals I was on. I took this high-performance diesel that was modified at a race tuner in North Charleston. There were Ferraris and Porsches out in the parking lot. He added a different chip. I averaged 55 mpg, miles per gallon of diesel. And when I got to a 5 to 7% grade, the Smokies or Rocky Mountains, my fuel economy estimated by the computer dropped down to about 10 to 12, something like that. Huh, I thought that's interesting. And then what I found out years later is that 8 inches per mile squared is a 30% grade. My car couldn't have even climbed it. Yeah, how about that? There's not 650 miles of curvature between here and California. And then when I flew from coast to coast, there's no accounting for the supposed rotation. Apparently, flying from California to here, my destination was moving away from me more than 500 miles an hour faster than I'm flying, and would have rotated underneath me 5 days later. Hey folks, I just want you to know something. I had that observation within hours of me being told we don't live on a globe. I hadn't even heard anybody else say it. I know that they talked about air paths and travel paths and all that. See, the reality is God knows everything, and He helps me to be able to articulate some of this stuff to people that apparently want to know and are involved in sharing the work that I do. Okay, so back when I flew from here to California, my destination apparently, according to the sun-worshipping, heliocentric, Masonic, magician, fallen angel, doctrine of demon bastards, according to them, my destination is rotating towards me at about 500 miles an hour at this imaginary spot on the spinning water sphere. Yeah, how about that? And the plane time, the time in the air, was about the same. So there you go. There it is. I said it. Yep. Not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. So I'm ending the recording with the P1000, and I'm going to take us for a ride. So thank you for watching for my live Facebook. I'm going to keep this going. I've got some more to say, imagine that. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Hashtag my name. You'll see me on all the social media platforms that I'm on as best I can, and I'll try and answer you. You could call me anytime if you like, and I'll show you my phone number and the stationary water there. There you go. Reach out anytime you like. Thank you so much. All right, so there it is. How about that? Wow, that's a lot of light. Yeah, the hair's real, the tan's real. I'm a real guy. The physiology, it's all original equipment, mostly. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to show you what I was going to say with my physiology. I did have a motorcycle accident and a few head injuries. Imagine that. Isn't that special? I'm happy with what I get to do now. Yeah, with car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks, and more. I cover it on my different videos. I don't need to have it all worked into this one. So let's see what I can show you with just zooming in with the iPhone 10. That's not bad. Definitely a hot spot there. Of course, when it's not zoomed in, we can see that as well. This is a carbon fiber tripod. It's called a ProMaster. See, there's no movement. So one of the other ways that I've measured, shout out to the surveyor, is that I've measured with the water. Actually, liquid level is used to level out or determine plumb or vertical. Just so you know, that's how it works. One of the questions he asked me would, and if you're watching, that'd be great. I'm not all upset with you. Even though we had a kind of a heated exchange yesterday, I just don't have the time to waste trying to convince somebody that's trying to help me realize how deceived they believe I am. I'm not going to waste my time with that. And so it doesn't mean that I don't care. It just means that I would say, hey, you need to look into this a little bit more. So I'm going to bring up one of the points that he mentioned to me. And it's for a very good reason. It's not to make fun of him. It's to point something out that I've elaborated on. That being, he said, do you believe a plumb bob would hang vertical even no matter how far away? I said, yeah, absolutely. And apparently he found that that's not the case with his measuring devices. Oh, really? Hey, remember he talked about his sophisticated devices, electronics, and interacting with GPS and satellites. Yeah, you might want to look in the top 10 of my playlist about satellites. They're bouncing frequencies off of the firmament. Yeah, it's like a big dish. How about that? Here's one of I want you to... Oh, a bird just jumped up there. He wanted to see what I'm up to. There he is. Anyway, here, put your thinking caps on. How could an airplane with a satellite dish be focused on a given satellite to get reception? Come on, think about it. I'm an expert marksman. I can drop a bead on something miles away. No kidding, I've got evidence of that. Well, with that in mind, how in the world can a satellite dish on an airplane continually receive a signal, or satellite phones? They're bouncing this stuff off of the firmament. That's an easy target to hit, right? Well, yeah, that's the way it actually works. It's not proof of a globe. And he worked in the supposed satellite industry and created electronics that he believed were going to be launched into space. That's where NASA and Elon Musk are most interested in, is your imagination. Yeah, it's true. That's what they want to do, is give you the illusion and the fantasy of space travel. We're going down. I'm gonna show you, because I don't know how much you're going to be able to see of it, but I do want to back around and just show you something. I saw it in my rear view mirror. I want to bring it around and show you again. And see if you can see the sensation of going up. The level ceiling and the slanted sidewalls. And the light shooting down towards us. We can see that that there's elevation. I know I can see it. I can feel the weight, the pressure on my back increase because I'm going up, and now I'm reaching the level spot. Okay? And now there's less pressure on my back. The water is a natural level. I do believe it's probably worth... Okay, so if I want to put the Truthmobile reflection in the light, there's not like much traffic going on here right now. Let me see how well, I'll tell you what'll happen. I'll just get wet feet. I'd have to get wet feet to do it, unless I do it when I'm coming the other way. That's what I'll do. So this is where I started out. I've lined up these wires, these cables, against the horizon. Let's see if I can show you. Come on, baby. It's not... Now, there we can see the wires better, but it's hard to see the horizon as much through there. But that was one of the things that I saw early on, is that there was no curvature on the horizon. I asked Apple support, the Apple Corporation, like 3.5 years ago. I've known for about 3.5 years that we don't live on a globe. I know it. It's not that I believe it. It's not that it's my opinion. I know for a fact that the spinning water sphere isn't possible. Okay, I asked the Apple support what the width of the view was at 6 feet of elevation at sea level at the vanishing point on a clear day. They said, well, we've never been asked that question. Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah, well, I'm the guy. I'm the guy that'll ask the questions. I'm the guy that'll get my face in front of millions of people because I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I'm that guy. I've had people say when I'm out in public, they'll say, you're that guy. Yeah, I'm that guy. How about that? I'm that new guy. That's the big thing. So I'm going to flip this around. That's the puddle I just went through. And so I'm going to go ahead and avoid walking in the puddle. Easy enough to do. And there's the car and my dry feet. I just had to park it where I wouldn't have to walk through the puddle. So one of the people that I've featured on my liked videos shows how to do reflection photography. That's pretty impressive. That back. Oh, there I am. Sorry about that. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that amazing? So here's what happened. I saw that before. I've seen that in my imagination before. Okay. So now one of the other, I've got a photo showing coming out of these elevators, and one of my friends, Rich, likes Corvettes. I did a Corvette in this parking spot, upside down, sideways, all different directions. Hey, Rich, if you're still watching. Okay, so there's the horizon, there's the vanishing point, there's the roof, the ceiling, level like I said, the cable is level, the horizon is level, the parking ramp is slanted. Bam. How about that? Yeah, I do measurements. The surveyor said it, he said he measured the world. He found it that it wasn't exactly the official number. Really? Really? How did you measure the diameter of the world? How did you do that? I'm calling bullshit on that. Yeah, I can say those words. How about that? I'm tired of being lied to, made fun of, kicked, shot at. I shot myself with a shotgun shell when I was 10 years old. I buried it in the ground and shot it with a pellet gun. Hit me right here. 1,250 feet per second is 850 miles an hour. How about that? That's the frontal cortex. That's the CEO of this corporation. Not anymore. There's a new sheriff in town. Jesus took up residence. So I'm born again. He knows everything. I don't need to. Got no curve on the horizon. That's inland. So I've shown you the ocean. I'm showing you the liquid mirror that this is. It's just the way it is. It's just how it works. There's the water tower on the drive-in I showed you, which is also a cell tower. There's a temporary one next to it. We live about 7 miles over there. How about that? About 10 feet above sea level. Isn't that special? So if we get hit by a massive tsunami, that might be it for me. And in this experience, in this dimension. But keep in mind, we know that, you know, we only live so long. How long is that? How long do we actually live? Well, forever. Just not in these bodies. There's coming a time when we'll no longer be able to fog a mirror. And that was the question that was like a splinter in my mind, like Morpheus talked about. Yeah, but the question was, where in the heck am I going to spend eternity and why? Well, fact of the matter is, I'm going to spend it in heaven because I'm actually a child of God that's born again. Now that's special. That's worth having a drink. This is a repurposed whiskey bottle. It's got a smooth drinking way about it. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? It depends on the temperature. The temperature changes the density and volume of water. It's just reality. You can check it out. You can test it. I've got a lot of scientific proof, evidence that we're not on a globe, but none of that's going to help you when you can't fog a mirror. You just got to make sure you got the upgrade before you can't register a pulse. How about that? Okay, we're on the level. I'm leveling with you right now. Okay. One more reminder of water seeking its level. Windshield wipers, getting rid of a lot of water. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let me show you the horizon there. Okay, so there's the horizon, and there's the drop down. Here we go. Whee! I'm leaning ahead. I can feel it. So when I drove across country, it's a lot of hours. I've done it multiple times in trucks, cars, moving trucks. We moved from California, used to live out there. Flown to Myrtle Beach multiple times. I've been paying attention my whole life. My dad was a professional salesman. This isn't sales. Here's the horizon again and the drop down. Let me touch the screen and change the lighting a bit if I can. There we go. That's part of the AI, part of the sensing. I just tap the screen on my phone, the iPhone 10, when I do that. I'm charging right now in my holder. That's a charging windshield mount. Got it from Best Buy. Do you know why Amazon.com can sell things for so cheap? Well, because they sell. Jeff Bezos is apparently, according to some, the richest man in the world. Well, he sells cloud storage space. It's the most profitable product that he has. Expandable cloud storage, pay as you go. How about that? How about that? So he can buy up, he can underprice his competition, put them out of business, and then purchase them. Isn't that special? Hey, we're not in Kansas anymore. You know, he's probably not out chopping firewood and trying to figure out how to survive the winter. You know, he's got billions and billions of dollars. And apparently, his wife, his ex-wife, will be the richest woman in the world. I meet millionaires that have had the wife cash slide in the chips and say, I'm done with you. I'm moving on. That can even happen with meth, vaping, smoking, coke drug addicts where they decide to move on. In fact, a lot of that group doesn't even decide to get married because they'll cut the other person off intimacy-wise if they don't live up to their expectations. That's why a lot of people shack up, is because, hey, you're going to have to hit the road if you don't keep me happy. How about that? And it's normally the person with the money. It can be male or female, unless you think I'm a chauvinist pig. I've been called that. Oh well. God has a model for the family. It's not the model that we see in society. Oh wow. It's what it is. I give y'all plenty of sound bites to chop up and do whatever you want with. And the AI too. Deep fake. Do you know what a deep fake is? A deep fake is where they take somebody's voice and make them say whatever they want on a digitally generated automaton or image. So they can take president and make them say whatever they want. They did it. I showed it on a video. They took the Barack Obama and made him say stuff that he didn't say about that. They could do that with anybody. Oh well. I don't know how much time they would spend trying to make me say something that they would want me to say. I probably say it anyway. They would just have to pour through some content. I'm not saying I'm the Neo in the Matrix or the Morpheus. I'm just a guy who actually is born again, wanting to hand out the invitation for eternity. An eternal perspective that hopefully you would enjoy. That's why I do this. What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what can a man give in exchange for his soul? Priceless. Absolutely priceless. So I'm going to flip this around, let you see what it looks like. Finishing up we're down just about at ground level. Yeah, I keep on spraying water on my brakes to try and wash away the dust that's making them squeak, but oh well, it is what it is. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take us directly on over to the coastal preserve and show you some things. Let's touch the screen there, give a little lighting. So what I did is I touched my finger on the view of the sun, and it altered it a little bit. I'm using the Sennheiser headphones. They're a surround sound headphone with a transparency feature. It allows me to hear my voice. If you think that's narcissistic, it's not. It's just a matter of housekeeping. I tell you that because a lot of the podcasters will have big headphones on. These take the place of that. Not only that, I get a surround sound, and I can walk outside in the wind. I had to look for it. I had to look for this. They didn't have it at a sound store, a music store, that actually had a lot of stuff. I mean, they get the Myrtle Beach rigged up with a lot of their performance grade equipment. Well, I gotta take us down by the water here, but to do that I've got to do this right, which means I just follow the laws and make my turns the way I'm supposed to. Especially in the process of doing a broadcast while I'm driving. I mean, any evidence of any legal infractions that I am recording would make it possible for enforcement or penalty. Just think about it. I remember realizing that the system knows how fast our cell phones are moving. So, for example, when we have Bike Week here, we'll have motorcycles, some of them cost as much as $200,000. And they put cameras out on Highway 31 because it's been seen that some of the motorcycles will go over 200 miles an hour. Can you imagine getting having a knock on your door because the police are there to give you a ticket or take you away because your cell phone was going 200 miles an hour, 225 miles an hour down Highway 31? It's all possible with the system of control that we have and the technology to go that fast. Okay. I used to race professional level motocross. All of that is transferable to automotive and motorcycles in my case. I have got the aptitude and the skill set for that. It's kind of fun. I mean, you don't, one of the reasons why I tell you that, it isn't to say, look at me, although I just showed you me. What I wanted to say is that you don't get to that level at a young age because you just are half-hearted. I was all in on that too. Dun 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 dun. We've got the Burger King there. The Burger King fire plug. Yeah, how about that? There's the liquid mirror right there. I showed it on the drive-in. Looks a lot different now. Ooh. Okay, so the little bird is cool with me being here. The big bird is not so sure. The big bird's going to go flying and make some real guttural sounds. I'm going to sneak up on him later. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I have to be sneaky. So now I just want to show you over here on this side the liquid mirror that this is. Ooh, a bunch of fish just jumped out of the out of the water there. I see a whirlpool. It's happening. Oh, we've got two whirlpools going in opposite directions right next to each other, totally blowing the toilet water spin as a proof of a spinning water sphere. Ta-da! There you go. There it is. I've seen it before. There you have it. What a beautiful day. Perfect for this. I don't see anything globular here. Hey, Bob. Let's do it like this. I'll have to show it like this. Hey, Bob, why don't you cue up the spinning water sphere program so we can convince people they live on a ball hurling through space? That's what the ISS fantasy is all about. Wow. Oh, now we don't have as much whirling there, but we got it there. Okay. It'll do it again. It'll do it again. But I'm going to go show us the bird and shut my donut hole so you can hear him make the sound when he goes flying. That's just what they do. Ooh, he didn't. But dang, there was a big fish that went swimming. Right down there. Oh, see the little guy? He doesn't mind me. He's seen me many times. He knows I'm a local. Hey, buddy. Here, let's zoom in on him. Nope, we didn't have the bird make the sound. A lot of times they do. All right, let's flip this around again. One of my friends said, Robert should go out on the street. Well, here I am. I go all over the place. In the Walmart when it's stormy and rainy and people are not wanting to get all wet. So when the sun is lower on the horizon, we'll have the light beam. It gets up to a higher spot, closer relative to us. I'm not saying the sun is changing in elevation. I don't know for sure. What I do know is it looks like it's getting higher based on my perspective and vantage point. So vantage point is a big deal. Perspective, really big deal. Eternal perspective, the most important deal. keep in mind there would be no level anywhere if we were spinning, wobbling, and of course gyrating. Thank you very much. That's where I got that, was from Elvis, that whole gyrating thing. We're not moving. We had the toilet water not flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. It's just water seeking its level. We've got a porta potty company around here called Elvis. I've got it on my videos. The Beach Renourishment used the Great Lakes Dock and Dredge. Shout out to them. They did a great job. I created memes showing the upside down world. I flipped everything upside down like that. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Does that even look possible? No, of course not. So it's this is more of a reality show. I'm wanting to show anybody who will watch the reality of the world that we live in, because it matters for eternity. There you go. There it is. Oh yeah. Just so you know, I look really good before I pull out in traffic and all of that. So we saw the moon set from up in the parking ramp on the right side, virtually straight ahead from here. And to round this out, I believe what I want to do is take us onto the ocean right here. I'll just temporarily park over here and walk out with the camera. Spinning water sphere. That is funny. I know that I've heard people talk about the spinning ball. We've seen the spinning ball. How do you have a spinning water sphere? Like I was talking with this credentialed surveyor, I said, all of our interaction with water proves we're not on a globe. I said, you know, do you have a washing machine? He said, yeah. I said, well, what happens when it hits the spin cycle? He didn't want to say. Well, the water goes flying off the clothes. It's just what it does. Here's the, remember the Beatles walking across the crosswalk? So the sun came up way over there today, and it'll come up way over there in the winter. Good morning. Hi, Sally. So later on today or this weekend, and as it gets a little later in the day, there will be just massive amounts of people all along the beach. So I want to show you a couple of things right here. That's if you want to get chairs and umbrellas. We're in North Myrtle Beach. This is rip currents. This may save somebody's life. Because of the fluid dynamics, that's what happens with a rip current. And if you don't know how to swim off to either side to get out of it, you can get taken out to sea and drown. How about that? One of the things that I encourage is to put children in a life vest. Then you can relax a bit more. Give yourself a little bit of time to grab them if they get caught in the current. That's Peter over there carrying the chairs. He's from the Czech Republic, or actually from Slovakia. So like for example, I don't have the money to get in a plane to go to Slovakia and walk out and meet people. He came here for the summer to do chairs and umbrellas. I showed you the number you can call to have them set up chairs for you. Obviously that's not practical if you're not going to be going to the beach. But if you were here and you wanted to, you could. So one of the realities of this is higher is drier and lighter colored, and then it gets a lot wetter out here. We can see the high tide line, and I'll walk right up to the high tide line. Beach Renourishment brought a bunch of sand in here. High tide line, I've seen high tide up there next to the building, actually underneath the building, close to it. So they brought in a bunch of sand, sucked it up from the bottom of the ocean, and then pumped it up through a submarine pipeline with diesel pumps and ships, and you can see it on my videos if you care to. That was funny, huh? All right. So that looks like my surfer friend's dry bag there. It's a special bag that's you could toss right out into the ocean and keep things from getting wet. Kayakers will use it. Now, when I was talking to one of the lifeguards a couple days ago, he almost died of hypothermia out in the ocean. He was in a kayak that was not an ocean kayak, and he had to be treated for hypothermia. Right local here. He didn't have the right equipment for what he was doing. He should have been in an ocean kayak. So I would highly recommend having the right tool for the job. That's one of the reasons why I'm talking about LBRY. It's the right tool to get the truth out, because of there won't be as much what would we term as censorship. So it doesn't mean I'm not going to have a YouTube channel. I'll have that up as long as I can. It's just that I'm transferring my library of content to LBRY. And when I go ahead and share that link and other people decide to verify themselves as another human being that's going to do LBRY, I'll get a little benefit from that. And it's consistent with what I want to do anyway. I want to encourage people to tell the truth and to leverage worldwide instantaneous social media, the digital transmission of information, and I'm giving it away, sharing it for free. I've got a lot of expense in doing this. I do it because I care. And you can actually gain some financial resources by participating in this. So that's it's a win-win situation. So I'm not sure if the link that I have on my Facebook right now is functional. I'm working with the developers on this, and I'll be promoting the platform. If there was any problem that I saw with it, I would pull the plug on my involvement. I just don't see any reason to not be full steam into it. Looks good to me. So I'm working with it, and I'm encouraging other people to do that too. And the documents on it, the video evidence of it already out there, has had a lot of enthusiasm and excitement in all around this. So I'm not upset if somebody else shares it with my friends. It's not like I've got an Amway business and I want you to get it from me. I just want you to grow and have a passion, purpose, and eternal perspective, and the power to do what God created you to do. Now that has happened for me and is happening in and through me. That's why I do this. So there you go. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth and the Truth Library. I'm bringing that to you. The library of the world, basically. I'm wanting you to help find what you can find there. Maybe not everybody will go over there, but I believe you're going to, I believe you're going to find the truth there, because I'll be there. Thank you so much. The truth of God's Word will be there. That's what this is all about. Sharing God's Word to the ends of the earth around the clock for an eternal perspective.